visual storytelling at all, really, I feel like is the best way for human beings, including human beings in Hawaii, to be able to have those tangible totems to ground yourself in time soup. You know what I mean? Because it's not linear. And so even things of legends of Menehune and all of our different oli and all of our, I mean, when you listen to the Kumulipos literally describing the Big Bang Theory, like.
All right, welcome back to Hawaii Real, everybody. I'm your host, Iokeehu, and I want to send a shout out to our beverage host, Hawaiian Springs Water, for providing the beverages for this awesome episode. 101, Morello, little Dalmatian thing going on here. We do have a canine on the set, though. I'll let my guest introduce her. And this episode is brought to you by the Native Hawaiian Hospitality Association. The Native Hawaiian Hospitality Association was founded by iconic Hawaiian leaders who understood the implications, opportunities, and impacts that Hawaii's largest industry was having on the people of Hawaii, Hawaiian culture, local ways, and our state's natural and cultural resources. Supported by the Hawaii Tourism Authority, NAHA promotes and perpetuates the authentic spirit of aloha and Hawaiian culture in hospitality, industry planning, promotion, and product development. You're going to want to check out this great organization at www.nahha.com. All right, and I have an awesome, totally awesome, really super badass awesome, would that be fair to say? Badass guest today. Artist, sculptor, movie producer, oh my god, and yeah, actually codified badass.
It's in print.
Nicole Naone.
Hi, thank you for having me. And lady. Hi, lady.
You had a little what is it? Italian greyhound.
Yeah.
Awesome. She's so quiet.
She is.
Let's hope the fireworks here don't scare her.
Oh, yeah.
We just had a few fireworks before we started rolling, and it was in the neighborhood. Somebody's blowing off some loud aerials.
Yes.
It's like fireworks to me are, I mean, there's a lot of crimes, and you can kind of categorize the different crimes by, there's violent crime, and then there's crime of, stealing property or damaging property, that kind of thing. Where do fireworks fall? It falls in the category of being an asshole.
I mean, to me, it should be considered animal cruelty.
Or that. That's
it
true.
Absolutely should be considered animal cruelty. And unless it is, can be certified as like cultural practitioner, like if you are Chinese and you are actively, as a part of your cultural practice, removing demons from your space.
On Chinese New Year.
Correct. Then absolutely. But other than that, I'm like, you are terrifying my dog and everybody's dog around you. Like, this is unnecessary.
There's no reason to be shooting off fireworks at,
on a casual Tuesday.
6 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh,
animal cruelty. That's what they're doing.
They are. But they're just doing it for themselves, their own entertainment. Because they're not entertaining anybody else. Like, I didn't get to see it.
Right. Lady didn't.
No. I didn't get to enjoy it.
Just felt it in her tiny body.
I know. She's still there shaking. Poor dog. All right. But Nicole, so you are one of the producers for Waikiki the Movie.
Yes.
And people can find that at waikikithemovie.com, which I looked into that, and it was a really awesome story that you guys have portrayed over there of a local young woman going through trials and tribulations in downtown Waikiki.
No, totally. Yeah.
So awesome. And you also have your own website, NicoleNaone.com.
Yes.
And that has all your like artistic stuff in there and everything. And then you're the creative director for PointHawaii.com.
Yes.
And that is a marketing agency? Oh.
Yeah.
Did you just start that on your own? Or you join that?
Like accidentally, just to pay bills. I didn't know it was a skill set. And it was like, this is like monetizing hustle and graphic design. Like, that's easy. I was popular in high school. Like, I can do that.
Really?
No. No, yeah, it was an autopilot thing.
Don't joke too much, because I'll take you seriously.
How funny. Too funny.
But we want to take you on some icebreaker questions here. So what neighborhood are you from?
Gosh, this is going to be so long. I'm not like from anywhere. I was both of my parents who were divorced moved every 2 years. And my mom on Oahu and then my dad on Big Island. So I just like to say Hawaii.
So right now, where are you from?
Right now, I am currently in Honolulu.
So you're a townie.
I
Can I call you a townie?
Totally.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I guess so. Yeah.
Where are you at?
In Makiki. And through high school, we lived in Mililani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But before that, my dad was in the Army. So we moved around all over the country and lived in the Philippines for a few years.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Where in the Philippines?
Manila.
Oh,
Right
shit.
in Manila.
Oh.
Magallanes Village represent.
Right.
I don't know. That's the village we lived in. But my dad was in the embassy, the U.S. embassy over there. So yeah, we were smack dab in Manila, and I went to international school over there. And yeah, it was interesting.
My father did a lot of security for the Marcos family.
Oh. Ooh.
We have these like hilarious, I have all these photos from their funeral where I'm like, actually was watching like a documentary on the, it was like a Leslie Wilcox, like one of those local ones, about the Marcos family time here. And that's when I asked I was like, Dad, are you at the Marcos funeral? Like what? And he was like, oh yeah. We bodyguarded her for a while. I was like, what is this? Yeah. When they were, and the son, I want to say, or something, that they were both here. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. They were kind of crazy back in their country and what they did, but
gnarly.
No, we got there after they had left and gotten out of power. So. It was the Aquino era, President Aquino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first Filipino female president.
The footage of like the people storming, of like the literal crowd of people going over the fence, like it's so insane. Yeah. It's so phenomenal to witness.
Yeah, it's like things that people in America really can't comprehend.
Yeah, no.
You're actually there and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we got to see some really crazy stuff in the Philippines.
I bet.
Like when they had the coups and like the some of the military units were trying to take over the government, like full on, we would see like planes dive bombing and dropping napalm on people. It's like,
Cash.
I mean, off in the distance, but still, it's like you got to see that.
Whoa.
It's like, Dad.
And how old are you?
Maybe 9 or 10.
Okay, that's really traumatic. That's insane.
Yeah. It's like, Dad, they're dropping bombs. He's like, what?
No, those are fireworks.
Oh no! There was like huge fire bombs on the ground after the planes flew over there. I was like, "Whoa!" Seeing trucks driving by with just soldiers.
How do you even process that as a kid?
I watched Rambo. I don't know.
Right.
So to me, I think it was more still fantasy. It wasn't like seeing people get shot or killed or anything like that. It was still in the distance. So
interesting.
But yeah, my dad telling me, "Get down" on the ground in the car, and we just took off. He's like, I don't know what happened, but he drove fast.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we had to wear like bulletproof vests and stuff like that. Our car had bulletproof windows. Yeah.
That's
because they were killing Americans over there.
Holy crap. Yeah. Hardcore. And
but as a kid, you don't know. As a kid, you're just like, okay, we're wearing these vests. It's
fun.
It covers my whole body.
Holy crap.
It's a huge thing. And why does Dad carry a tennis racket case all over the place?
Oh, Jesus.
It wasn't a tennis racket.
That was not a tennis racket,
It was not
sir.
a tennis
Absolutely
racket.
not. Oh, man.
I remember the funny part is my dad would say, hey, don't tell anybody. This is Daddy's little secret. And my mom was like, no, you can't say that's Daddy's little secret. That sounds wrong.
That sounds terrifying. Yeah. I'm like, oh, whoa, where's this going?
Wait, well, we're not
so
thinking
funny.
what we're thinking here. But yeah, that's
really funny.
All right. So you graduated from Kamehameha.
Yes.
And then you traveled a ton.
I did.
Chicago?
I was living in Chicago for a while. I was in LA. A bunch of Europe, just like all over the place. I really, right after high school, just wanted to experience as much as I could and learn by being there. And I went to Kamehameha since kindergarten.
Oh.
So I really was like, I feel like I don't know about what else is out there. Like I want to check it out.
Anybody that's done that from one school, 12 years or 13 years, kind of sheltered in a little space. Like you don't know what it's like to be in public school.
Not at all. I have zero perception of that. I mean, I remember even in college in Chicago, I remember going to the gym and asking the campus gym and asking them where the air pressure section was.
What? The air pressure section?
Yeah, because at Kamehameha, we had one of the gyms was all air pressure machines. Like there weren't any weights banging
the weight
around.
machines. Yeah.
They were
where
all...
it fills up. Oh, the top gym.
Yes, you know this. Yeah. The
was
one, it's like underneath, kind of like where the racquetball zone is. There's like the racquetball court.
Is it by the girls' dorms still? Yeah.
No, in between. Oh no, there's that one too. I know which one you're talking about. When I was there, they did like yoga there. But no, yeah, the air pressure machines, I just legitimately thought that was a normal part of gyms.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, the air pressure machines.
Yeah, they're pneumatic weightlifting machines. So they don't have actual weights to lift, because I'm trying to describe it for the audience. They were connected to air hoses, and you had buttons on them.
Correct.
Like either to
increase
the resistance with the air or decrease the resistance with the air. And you could just like fill it up as you're lifting the weights.
Yes. No, totally. And so you could, and they quantified even like the resistance and what that would be in terms of actual pounds and stuff. And I just, from being at Kamehameha my whole life, I had no idea that was like fancy or like not regular. And I thought I was being respectful because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be, there's like a bunch of dudes doing the hardcore physical weights. So I'm like, oh yeah, and there it was just like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, the weight, and I had to kind of be like, oh, this is one of those Kamehameha Schools things that are not real, and that gyms, that's not a normal part of gyms. That was just one of our 30 gyms. Because
I've been to a lot of gyms since then, and I've never seen those kind of machines again.
Ever. I've only ever seen them at Kamehameha.
Interesting. Huh. I totally forgot about that for all these 20 some odd years until you just brought it up just now. It's awesome. All right. Hey, do you have a favorite local food?
A favorite local food? I mean, it's hard not to just, which I feel like would be everybody's answer, right? Is like whatever your grandma makes. Or for me, it's like whatever my dad makes. My dad's luau stew is, that's like.
You're the second guest to say that.
Your dad's luau stew?
Well,
their
not
dad's.
Your dad. Yeah. Luau stew.
Oh man, because it takes so long. It takes so long, and it's delicious, and there's a lot of care that goes into it. But I feel like everybody's version of the best is going to be whatever their grandma's is.
I haven't had luau stew.
What?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll make you some luau stew.
Yes, winners.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you gotta have luau stew.
Yeah, no, I had a guest on Kavika Burgess, and he was telling me that his favorite food is luau stew. I was like, what is that? And he's like, what?
Yeah, no, it's so good. It takes so long, but it's so good.
Sorry, my mom's from upstate New York. I don't know. It's like,
oh, interesting. How did, and then your father is from here?
Well, so my dad was my grandfather was in the military also. Okay. So my dad wasn't really from here, even though my grandfather was from Nu'uanu. My grandfather's like half Hawaiian, half Japanese.
Okay.
But once World War II hit, he was gone.
Yeah.
Like he joined up, fought in Europe, and stayed on the East Coast, met grandma over there in New York City. She's Puerto Rican, like full Puerto Rican.
Word.
And had my dad out there in Brooklyn. So my dad was born in New York City, and yeah.
And so your dad's growing up as a Hawaiian, Japanese, Puerto Rican in Brooklyn.
I don't know if they lived in Brooklyn very long, but because my grandfather was in the military, so they continued to move around. So they actually lived in Japan, and they lived in Hawaii for a little bit too growing up. I know my dad was telling me they used to live in Eva Beach for a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, he wasn't, their family wasn't local Hawaiian type.
Oh, so you had a blast at Kamehameha.
Culture shock.
You had a blast.
Total culture shock. Huge.
That's funny.
I remember the summer going to Kamehameha just before 9th grade. My mom dropped me off to go to football practice over there and just join the team. I didn't know anybody there. So they got me in there and they started telling me the plays and everything. And I, for the love of God, could not say imua. I pronounced it imua. I was terrible. And everybody would just laugh at me the entire time. Like, imua. Because we would say all the plays and count in Hawaiian.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so all the plays are in Hawaiian and the counts and everything are in Hawaiian. So.
And you're the kid being like, imua.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was me, little white boy.
Oh, poor thing.
I learned eventually. Yeah, it took me a while. I never understood song contest, really understood it. So
that's so
there's
funny.
There's so many aspects of Kamehameha Schools that I really didn't grasp or understand.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, just because I didn't grow up in the culture.
Yeah,
I was brought in from the outside. But my dad always wanted us to go to that school. So
wow, there's so much. The song contest is an interesting one for sure. Whenever I was explaining the school to my friend. Who lives on the continent and has no reference, and she's like, "You're describing a cult." She's like, "That's not."
Has she heard about
Puno?
No.
Word.
My kids.
Word, yo.
Yeah.
My brother, the three of us. There's four of us, but three of us went to Kamehameha, and the baby went to Puno. But no, yeah. She's like, "What do you mean you had to do a biathlon every year?" It's like we had to do a biathlon every year, and she's like, "What do you mean you guys wore ankle bracelets and they monitored your time?"
Oh, they did that for you guys?
Oh, it was hardcore with the swims, the runs, and then she's like, and then you had to learn choral music, and like everybody did, and it's funny hearing it mirrored back to you.
Then you tell her, but the food was great,
dude. That's gone. Isn't that sad?
Well, glad my kids aren't going there then.
Akahi, it's gone.
Really?
I remember like going.
What do they eat lunch?
I don't know what it is, but it's not that same where they're home cooked meals, and it's phenomenal. I remember going and just putting on my old uniform as an adult and like going there and like hope I can just fit in.
Just blend in.
1,000%.
Right.
Like I did it a few times. I was just like, this is so good. I love this so much.
They have crazy good food. I remember that. That was like the one highlight of my high school career is like the food, the lunch was great. What I didn't like was having PE after lunch. It was terrible. It was just... Right.
And then the running to another side of a mountain to get there. Like it's so, but all of this, it's so funny. You have no idea how fortunate you are until you experience other stuff. Because it's like I look back like, oh my gosh, I wish I utilized, or I feel like they shouldn't started at kindergarten. Like everybody should have an experience in public school or something before, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally didn't appreciate how phenomenal that school is until you're finding out air pressure machines aren't normal in the south side of Chicago. I'm like, oh wow, my school was really
regular
amazing.
Public school lunches are kind of terrible.
I'm assuming.
Yeah. I went to Moanalua Intermediate.
That's a good one though. From what I hear, that's like that Moanalua, like.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah, no, I heard that like, or I have friends that like use fake addresses so that their kid can be in that district instead of like Pearl City, or I don't know.
Yeah. That's one of the schools that people get district receptions to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so a little bit more about you, since we continue to go on tangents with
Sorry.
When you get shave ice,
yes.
What are your flavors?
It depends where, but I'm a weirdo. Like I literally like just doing milk.
Just milk or
flavor? I like milk flavor.
That's kind of weird.
I know.
I've never seen that.
It's so good.
Not even frozen milk, like ice cream, just milk.
So my shave ice, I like doing ice cream, mochi ball, and then the milk flavored syrup.
Right.
And then condensed milk, which really I feel like I'm probably just making ice cream.
Yeah, it's just exasperating the creaminess of the ice cream with all that good stuff.
But yeah, either that, or if it's like a real basic one, I'm always into desserts that are flavored as other desserts is one of my favorite things ever.
Like example.
Like when it's like, what flavor ice cream is this? And it's like cupcake. Like it's ridiculous. But I also love when flavors are actually just colors. Like it's not even a thing. So I love
like
when
red velvet cupcakes. It's just red. It's like, what is red velvet?
No, like purple drink.
Purple
like,
drink.
No, yeah, or red velvet. You know, what is that? So yeah, I love in general of like, what's your favorite shave ice? I would be like blue. Like,
yes,
you know what I mean? Like, I love that.
That's kind of like me with Gatorade. It's like I want blue today or green tomorrow. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, what flavor actually?
I just do
is
not
that?
like red Gatorade. But yeah,
Why?
it's usually fruit punch, and it usually like turns your mouth red.
Gross.
And it's just kind of like eh. And all the other flavors are so much better than red. They're far superior.
I only like the yellow one, that like neon highlighter yellow.
Oh, the original one.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Oh,
the
maybe
lemon
that's why.
lime.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like fluorescent orange or yellow. That's the only one that I'm like, this is what a Gatorade is. Everything else feels like not a Gatorade.
I used to get the Gatorade powder in that little jar.
Oh,
You can mix it like
I
Kool-Aid.
didn't know that. Like Tang.
Yeah, like Tang. Except I would
shit.
just take the scoop and throw it in my mouth.
That is
And just, like,
completely out of
chew it.
control. You are a
I
psychopath.
was totally sugar high.
That is not normal.
I would do that when I'm playing video games late at night. Just like hit the Gatorade.
That is you're just like
Stay up till,
freebasing
3 in the
Gatorade.
morning. Yeah, totally.
Okay. Word. Wow.
Wow, bringing up all these old things that I used to do.
I love it. That's so funny. I'm like trying to picture, you're just like getting twisted on Gatorade powder. Like, I got to make it to the next level of Donkey Kong. Just like losing
not even
your
with
mind.
water, just straight Gatorade
Just, like,
powder.
oh my God. I'm like imagining you literally like doing it, like just full on.
Bouncy. Oh, like
Legit.
putting it on my gums and everything.
Yes. Yes. That's what I'm picturing right now. Just your face covered Lihimoy powder style, but it's all Gatorade.
Lihimoy's good too.
Word.
Yeah. Can we talk about your tattoos?
Yes, of course.
'Cause in your profile pictures and stuff, like the one on your back is highlighted.
Yeah, I mean, even in my
It is very intriguing.
I was lucky that the Honolulu Museum of Art was cool with it, because even they needed a headshot, and I gave them that same photo, which is not. It's literally the opposite of a headshot, right?
It's your back.
It's
with your
literally
tattoo.
my back. Yeah. But no, so that was done by Kili'i Makua, who is a kahuna uhi. So it was done traditionally.
With the tap.
Yeah. So it starts on my head and goes down my back. And
it starts by your temple.
yeah, I mean, I could move.
Oh, so it's all connected.
Yeah, you can kind of. I don't know if you can.
Oh my!
No, yeah, I don't know if I'm like messing.
Oh, I didn't know that was connected.
No,
So it goes,
it's actually one
basically from your
tattoo.
temple. So to explain to the audience here, it goes from the temple, her temple, all the way down the back of her neck and all the way down.
Yeah, all the way down to my tailbone, and I have to go and finish. It's supposed to continue.
What's the significance of the tattoos and the symbolisms?
I mean, so for that cultural practice, there's so much that goes into it, and I'm not an expert in it by any means, but it's something that largely has to do with your genealogy and the symbolism and the placement of things are extremely important. I was really, with Kili'i Makua, I was like, I don't have a 9-to-5. So there are no restrictions for me on, like my job, I can't, blah, 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 So I'm like, legitimately, like, go full on of whatever would be appropriate to my genealogy and my, position in my family line and, what islands that each side comes from. And it's all, there's a lot of stuff that really goes into it. And a lot of prayer and a lot of oliing and it's a very, very spiritual, cathartic practice. It was like maybe over the course of like 6 months, because your body really can, at least for me, I mean, some people can do a leg in a sitting. For me, I would literally pass out. One time I like legit seizured. Like, it's a really, really intense, cathartic, there's so much, oh God, how terrible to make a pun right now, but you tap in to a lot when you're experiencing it. Correct. But yeah, and it was beautiful. And even his wife, Sunny Makua, is phenomenal, and she brings this amazing feminine energy to the paw. And I mean, I've never had human children, but I can see how that extreme amount of physical pain and pushing through it, and not, you know, there's something to that in your cognition. Like it resets some stuff for sure.
So when you look in the mirror and you see your tattoo, what do you think about, or what do you envision?
I mean, for me, I don't even feel like I'm looking at it. I feel like it's almost like he uncovered it. Like it was already on my body in a, you know, in paint that you could only see with UV light. You know what I mean? It's like my ancestors and the people who are, or spiritual beings, whatever, who are not in the same frequency as me on this earthly plane. If they were looking at me, they already could see it. These are like identifiers of genealogy and of ancestors that they're already there and already very visible to other people. It's about, you know, me in this silly human iteration, you know, tapping in with Kili'imakua and with Earth. And there's, you know, there's other kahuna that do it, but to get on the same page with them and for them to be knowledgeable enough and in a good spiritual practice to where they can see it and they go, oh, that's what that is. Like, let's make that visual and able to be seen by other humans in this realm. So
it's like you always had that tattoo ever since you were small and they just uncovered it. That's awesome.
That's how that's how it feels. Do you think
about it that way because you're a sculptor? And there has been that transition or that saying where the sculptor didn't sculpt the Virgin, one of those ancient sculptures, and he was like, no, the sculpture was always there. I just chipped the rocks away from it, and it was there.
It's Michelangelo talks about that with I want to say he either says it with the Pieta or the David. I don't remember which one, but no, it's very. I mean, my process with sculpture or even with writing or with producing, I'm really subtractive in that way. And so, like, for example, like if I'm building a sandcastle, if I'm at the beach and I'm building a sandcastle, I'm not gonna form it by putting, you know, different pieces of sand or different blocks of sand together. I make a giant mound and then I remove so that I can, like, that's kind of how my brain processes creation, is by subtractively removing things. And so, in that way, in general, that is kind of how I view things and with all things, that it's like it already exists. It's about like uncovering things that are already there anyway. Am I being like annoying and esoteric? Is that like too horrible?
Not at all.
I will nerd out so hard. I'm sorry.
Of all your artistic mediums that you enjoy doing, which one do you find is your favorite or comes most naturally to you?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would say sculpting. Sculpting, if I have something to say, which I don't always, but sculpting is my easiest way to communicate for sure. Not necessarily that anybody's even speaking that language, but in terms of I was able to get an idea out and I wouldn't have been able to do it in a painting or writing or whatever, interpretive dance. Like I only know how to communicate this by making this sculpture. So I would say that, because there's so many, it's a language that I don't know how to speak that language in any other, like I wouldn't know how to translate it. Of like, I'm thinking about XYZ and the only way that I can communicate that is I made this bronze thing here. And if I was to try to explain it, I would be like rambling and not even quite getting it, you know? And that's, I have so much respect for writers, because I'm like, I have no idea how you do that when they absolutely can articulate what they're thinking, because I have to make stuff. I can't. As you, I'm sure you're learning, I will just ramble and be like, I think this is what I think I'm saying.
Well, I'm sure they could put what was I going to say? I'm sure they can see the appreciation from the other side too, as a writer or as a podcaster. Like, you're a sculptor, you're able to do that, whereas that's something that I can't do. When did you start sculpting, or when did you learn that was, or when did you find out that was your thing?
It was pretty random. I was at UH and I wanted to be a graphic designer. And just one of the classes that you're required to take as a part of being in the art department at all, which graphic design is, was an intro to 3D. And it's like one of those throwaway, like, oh, because you just have to be kind of well-rounded. And it was it was with Fred Roster, who is, he passed away, but it was like all of the light bulbs just exploding of like, whoa, this is a whole, like, I did not realize you could talk this way. And it felt like I'd been living in a foreign country my whole life. And now I'm finally learning how to talk. Like, oh, okay, there is a way to communicate the things that I'm thinking. It's this, it's sculpting. And so I was an adult already and then that changed everything, changed my major, changed everything. Was like, no, this is what I do now. I care about this now. Yeah.
That's so huge and impressive that you were able to find that. I mean, there's tons of people out there that go their entire lives never hitting that light bulb moment that you hit.
Totally. It was super. And to me, it's a testament to good teachers, right? To be able to ask the right questions and propose the right exercises for that self-exploration. You know, those are facilitated epiphanies. They wouldn't have just existed, you know? And then I feel like even in terms of filmmaking, or even like right now, the piece that's at the museum is an installation. It ends up being like kind of scratching the same itch of organizing a lot of things to communicate something. And there's a lot of taking away and subtracting and putting back and figuring out what that thing even wants to be. But yeah, college. Quick answer, college. That's when I learned that I love sculpting, for sure.
Yeah, that's totally interesting. I would have assumed, and I do that, everybody assumes, but I would have assumed it would have been like, when you were a little girl, I just started sculpting at the beach, you know, and I fell in love with it. That's so interesting you found it in college.
In a way, I mean, there's elements of that you find things, but like college was when I learned like, oh no, this can be like your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you can make a career out of this.
Yes. Like this can be a very, very big part of what you do, not just a hobby or like a fun thing, you know? It was like, oh no, there's like legitimate careers and you know, things that happen as a result of you tapping into, you know, what you're meant to do or whatever. And I think like that really is one of the large things of why I think Waikiki the film is important is having the fact that I was able to go to college. Like everything we're talking about is because there was a professor at school that was able to facilitate that. And Waikiki, the film, speaks a lot to the not having access to those privileges, you know, and like how many people do not get that moment in college or in high school even, to go, oh, you can do anything. You can figure this out. You have to have enough experiences of trial and error with this and that and this and that to find those things. And that access is important, I would say.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject too when you're talking about privilege and
Yeah.
seeing a vast majority of the population not achieving what their deepest dreams are.
Not even knowing what to dream.
Not even knowing what they want to do. Not even knowing what they're passionate about. You know, you can ask somebody, what are you passionate about? They're like, the 49ers. It's like, no.
Exactly.
Like, what are you passionate about doing? What do you put on this earth to do?
Exactly. And I would have never known it was sculpting unless I'd got, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that your life's passion is to be a cowboy if you've never seen a horse, you know? You might be the best cowboy in the entire world. You would have no idea because you didn't have exposure to it, you know?
I just laughed because I got thrown off a horse when I was 10.
What did you do to that horse? Why?
Nothing. It was a crazy horse.
You don't know that. Don't blame the horse.
It started biting the other horses because we're in like a family group thing, right?
Those trails are terrible. Those trails absolutely create rude horses.
Okay.
That it was the fault of the tour guide or whatever.
Totally. It's like it's not a bad dog. It's not a bad horse. It's the trainers or the owners and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, that's so funny. Wait, was that in the Philippines?
That was totally in the Philippines.
Oh my God. That's so funny.
Yeah, got thrown off. Yeah, all these memories. Is there a favorite movie that you have, or is there a movie that you have that you watched a ton of times that you just love to watch?
I mean, one that I've watched over and over and over and over and over again. But I mean, it's weird. I'm going to sound like a weirdo, but Deer Hunter, I really can watch over and over.
That's shocking.
Is it? I don't know. Or even like Godfather Part 2, I can watch over and over and over and over. Actually, it's funny. I'll send it to you later, but that's how she fell asleep. Like,
your dog?
Me humming the theme from The Godfather was literally like her lullaby because I used to watch it. But then I'll also like watch Alice in Wonderland I know that whole movie. I know every single line from all the Harry Potter movies.
Wow.
Like I'll just watch it over and over. So my taste is all over the place for sure.
If you were at Hogwarts, what house would you be?
Slytherin, obviously.
Really? Okay.
Well, I took the tests, but I like always would cheat so that I could get Ravenclaw because I really thought Ravenclaw was the coolest.
And you ended up Slytherin?
Well, so recently, like maybe only a year ago, I finally was like, you know what? You should take the test and take it for real and like actually answer honestly. And it was like my deepest fear came true of like, you are a Slytherin. So
that's not necessarily bad. I mean, it's ambitious, right?
Right. Yes, it's ambitious and resourceful. I mean, their logo's the coolest. I like the green. I like the snake.
I'm a Hufflepuff.
You would be. You seem very loyal. No, you seem very like
friendly. Weird. Yeah. Okay.
No, but Hufflepuffs get a bad rap because of things like friendly or whatever, and it seems weak, and it's not. Like Hufflepuffs are that loyalty element and that fair element.
It's in the name.
It's hardcore.
I think it's just
Puff.
kind of
Yours, it's got puff in it.
Yeah.
That really is all that it is. Yeah. If it didn't sound puffy.
Or even huffily. Right. Like it's a name that rhymes, like Hufflepuff. And it's like,
you're like, I'm not a child.
That's not cool. Like
Cedric Diggory was a Hufflepuff.
Right. He died. Sorry.
Wah, wah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler
If you
alert.
haven't watched it yet. Well, so since you're a movie aficionado, especially the Harry Potter films, if there was a classic movie or a classic film that you would like to remake, which one and why?
So I was thinking about this, and it's so hard to even say that because it's like the time periods are different and whatever, but not because like, so this film is already a masterpiece. Like, I'm not saying that I could do it better or I could like, but the story, the plot in and of itself is so interesting to me. And I love the way that it's done, but doing it, contemporary, like in set now, I think Chinatown would be an interesting one. It's with Jack Nicholson. It's old, I want to say it's like 76 maybe.
Oh.
But it's got a lot of twists and turns.
I remember seeing that in film class in college.
You went to film school?
No, I took a film class.
Got it. Okay. That or like...
It's like history of film or something like that.
Okay, yeah, it would be in that. It's a classic.
Is that the one where the guy takes a knife and he cuts the guy's nose out? Not sure.
Whoa. I mean, what's that?
I don't know, it's like the one part I remember. I think it was Chinatown. They're like the aqueducts outside LA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he does. Yeah, he cuts the guys. Yeah. No, the guy, and they're in the... Is that what it's called? An aqueduct?
Yeah.
There's giant trench things, but there's water. Yeah. There's that part. Sorry, it's like so small. I am so desensitized to violence. I'm like, was that in there? I'm like, oh yeah. No, it was. It totally was. That or like Rashomon, which is a Kurosawa film, but being able to like do it with the tools that exist now and like in color, like it's hard to not think that you would ruin it because it's a literal masterpiece. But even just as an exercise for yourself to even understand film better, like to try and emulate that would be open another door in your level up your brain in some way of you unlock a new Pokemon or something something. I don't know.
What would you do good or what would you improve in Chinatown?
There's nothing to improve. Like, it's not even like you
just bring it into modern times.
I guess if I was directing it, or something that I would just want to see what it would be like would be even just adjusting the timeline. Like, I feel like that would be a fun exercise. Like, even if it wasn't redoing it, even just re-editing with telling the story via a different timeline might be interesting. But definitely, again, it's a literal masterpiece, right. But just as a fun exercise for myself, I feel like playing with those, taking apart the structure and having the same set of Legos and then playing with them and making it could be interesting. Because the story is such a trip.
I always liked in movies, and I like to look at this one aspect of movies, and this was from the film class that I had, single take shots, where it's just like one long, is that what it's called? Or one long shot?
Yeah. I mean, technically, we just did a 12-minute oneer. So our piece in 360.
And that was in the Waikiki?
So no, I have to figure out even how to speak about our piece, because I guess technically it could be. No, I mean, the technology, I don't know what category it is, because technically it could be considered a 12-minute short film in Olelo, Hawaii. This is our piece. It's currently at the Honolulu Museum of Art right now. But it's in virtual reality, and it time lapses a full 24 hours in complete 360 though. And not just 360 this way, like literally
up and down vertical too.
Correct. Like you can see under Pico? You. It's at, Pico is from where we shot it. So you're seeing it from literally the center, the exact center of Big Island. And you can see everything around. But you figure that's a oneer. Like we could just play it over and over. It doesn't stop. It's literally a full time lapse and it just keeps going. That we had to craft though. I mean, it took 2 years. It's not like we just set it up and.
So 2 years for 12 minutes.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah. Because you figure that thing, it's like 8 cameras all around, like shooting all the stuff, and even the tech involved is insane. Like we had to work with a lot of the companies that do even the stitching and stuff to push the tech, because the processing doesn't even exist yet for it to be able to process time lapse and still be able to get the light from traveling to one for that long of a period of time. Like it was gnarly. It's a good, you got to come.
Yeah, that sounds so awesome and so inspiring. I love hearing about things like that in movie production, how they've, like when The Matrix came out and that first scene with Trinity battling the cops inside the room, and there's all of a sudden the bullet cam showing around her kicking when she's jumping in the air and it's like slows around and kicks. That was awesome. And nobody had ever seen that before. It's like, whoa!
So
it was totally awesome. And now that's kind of old technology, but still cool.
No, they're fabulous. Yeah, there's a lot of and you know, that piece Pico was essentially me, Chris Kuhanana, and Lanakila Mangwa wanting to protest in the museum about Mauna Kea. And that was a big part of it, of showing that, like, no, Native Hawaiians are technologically advanced. Like us being like, we don't want your garbage telescope doesn't mean like we hate science. And it's like, no, here's literally a piece that we made that we in the world are pushing the technology. Like we're not anti-science, we're anti the weird construction project that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But side note, with The Matrix, you have to go. I'll send you the address. It's at, wait, maybe you know him. Now that I think about it, he's a police officer. You have to go. So it's this house in Eva Beach. And every year they put on a new program where they do like a light sync.
Oh, for Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah,
dude, they have a Matrix theme this year and it's insane. And they do the whole, they started up, I think that's the third one, or no, it's the end of the first one where he's like on the phone and he says something and then he hangs up and then Rage Against the Machine starts playing and then he freaking
just flies away.
Dude, they have like a whole Christmas thing of that. I'll send you a video. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. That was me in
college, just listening to Rage Against the Machine after that. Yeah. I was like,
dude,
Matrix 4 coming out next month. Oh no. Yeah, this month.
Wait, what?
You didn't know this?
I work a lot and I'm in such a bubble. Like I have no idea.
Matrix 4
Holy
comes
crap,
out in a few weeks.
Stop it. I'm freaking out.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves looks like John Wick because he's he's older and he's got long hair and a long beard, but they got Trinity in there and everything.
Shut up. Oh my God, I'm
Resurrection?
freaking out.
Matrix Resurrection. Yeah.
Oh, I'm losing my shit. That's amazing.
Well, it's a good thing you came tonight, so you'd know that the Matrix is coming out, right?
Yes.
There's one takeaway from this podcast.
I am freaking out. Oh my God. Well, now it makes sense. I'm like, is that why that guy made
Yeah, probably, totally.
Probably. It's like, because I was like, whoa.
Why the Matrix? Oh, Matrix 4. I
have been on a Rage Against the Machine kick lately, but I always have to use it with caution, because if not, I'm
with
like...
the volume? Or who you're around?
No, the vibe of how it affects me.
Oh.
I'll be like with a Longs employee, just like, come on. That receipt.
I don't do what you told me.
Correct. I'm just like, don't oppress me with this long receipt. Like, I cannot deal with this. This is wasteful. Like, I get it. It's like, calm down. Yeah. Like you're just trying to get aspirin from Longs.
It's like I have to watch when I'm playing any kind of Rage Against the Machine and my kids are in the car. It's like, is this
that's so funny.
Yeah, it's appropriate. We do it. Yeah.
Right? It's like,
boys, listen to this. This is awesome.
Dude, there's these amazing videos on YouTube of people right now just learning about Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, yes, listening to the first time.
Bruh.
Yeah, and they hear that song and they're like, what?
No, yeah, the one
my God.
I was watching, what was that? The one where it's like I'm rolling down Rodeo with a shotgun. These people ain't seen a brown skin man since their grandparents bought one.
Yeah.
And they're like, did this just come out? Like, you know, because so many of the issues are still.
I know, guys,
prevalent.
These are issues from the 90s and
no, exactly. Yeah. But it's, the reaction, they're like, what? You know, it's like, oh yeah, Rage Against the Machine, man.
Yeah, that'll never get old. I think it'll always be relevant.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
Great stuff.
That's so funny.
I always like the guitar. The wow, 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 wow.
Well, and that's
nobody had done that before. It's like, whoa, that's so cool.
Well, and he like went to Harvard and shit, right? He's like, did you see that it was really funny. He said some sort of political tweet or a bunch of political tweet. Yeah, Tom Morello, right? Is the guitarist. Because he invented all of these techniques, right?
Yeah.
That sound like a DJ, like he's phenomenal. But he has either a master's or a PhD. It might be a legit PhD from Harvard in political science. Like
I believe it.
Yeah, he's a fucking maniac.
Very politically minded, oriented.
Totally, right? And it was funny though, because like some politician like reposted a tweet of his and was very like condescending of like, oh, when musicians decide to try to be political, like not like, yo, that is the one musician that you really cannot condescend to. And he like, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, what I always liked about Rage is that they kind of saw through the bullshit a long time ago.
Word.
Yeah.
Word. I mean, yeah, there's that one album where they literally like they shit on their own label. Like the cover of the album like had the Epic logo with them being like, or even their song for Godzilla. Like I remember their song, they had a song on the Godzilla soundtrack, which is like run by DreamWorks, and like the song like was literally like Nightmare Works, and like they're like, oh, damn, you're at a level where you can like get paid to protest the thing that's paying. Like this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like whoa.
But don't protest it too hard because they pay your bills.
I mean, but both. It's like it was totally. I'm like, dude, that's a whole like that is freedom right there. Like literally, I can say anything, and so many people listen that fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, that is a lifestyle.
I gotta say, that's probably the most powerful song I've ever heard. That lyric, well, the continued lyric, because they say it multiple times over and over and over again. And as a child, you think, oh, you know, that's to your parents, but it's not. It's so much deeper than that.
It's so much deeper than that. And I love that he, I mean, I feel like De La Rocha approaches lyrics like they almost, it's almost in the same way. It's almost like a Malcolm X speech. Like it's like there's a certain style to it almost of with the repetition of specific lines and that it's like, this is a legit, like this could be read at a political rally just as a speech, like the way that, but the specific things that get repeated are, it's so a thing. It's like, whoa, what are you saying to me right now? This is important.
It's so awesome.
Oh God, we can nerd out for that's so
I know,
funny.
right?
We'll nerd out so hard on Rage.
But I want to get to this last question. Why is visual storytelling critical to keeping Hawaii's past alive?
Oh, that's a big one. I mean, how weird do you want me to get? The
Well, I actually look at that question and I also look at your tattoo, and it's one and the same. It's a visual storytelling.
Exactly.
And every time you put your picture, your profile picture, and it's your back.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
So there's this oli, Ep101, and it talks about how like what is above will be below and what is below will be above. It's very oversimplified. But again, not to get too weird, but when you start getting into things like quantum mechanics and quantum physics, time's relative. You know, and things already exist and already don't exist and we're already in this amoebic weird zone. And so things like, you know, keeping the past alive, the past is the future, is the present, is the past, is the future. That like these are all things that are, I mean, even when you start thinking of telescopes, even we're looking at the stars, like that in and of itself is literal time travel. Like the amount of time that the light comes to take, it's like we're looking at something that could in this time not even exist. Like I'm looking at a light refraction that could be 1,000,000 years old, and for all I know, it's not anything anymore. Like visual storytelling at all, really, I feel like is the best way for human beings, including human beings in Hawaii, to be able to have those tangible totems to ground yourself in time soup. You know what I mean? Because it's not linear. And so even things of legends of Menehune and all of our different oli and all of our, I mean, when you listen to the Kumulipos literally describing the Big Bang Theory, like it's like, it absolutely talks about like a universe and darkness, like inside outing itself and heat being generated and coral pot. Like there is so much that even in those ancient texts, you're realizing how technologically advanced they even are. So it's like, if you even go super past, you very much so are already going future. Like they're already explaining things that we need to rediscover, but they're also in us. The whole concept of like we're literally made of stardust, like all of these things, right? It's like we just so happen to be in a human form right now, and those are the totems that allow for us to, for lack of better word, have memory, remember things. And to me, it's not even so much about like keeping the past alive. It's more about keeping it moving, period. You know, it's like the movement needs to, the future, the present, and the past should be in simultaneous movement. That should be an amoebic form more than a sectioned thing. I mean, even when you talk about piko, all human bodies have 3 piko. You know, you have past, future, present, but you as a body is moving simultaneously, even though you have your, you know, past, present, genitals, future. So in terms of, visual storytelling, keeping the past alive, it's all one and the same. It's like, if I just so happen to be half decent at a craft that allows for stories to exist, or even through my own lens, which like that in of itself is its own thing, then that's like my kuleana. You know what I mean? I don't know how to build a rock wall. I do not know how to hula. I do not, it's like in terms of Hawaiian culture and stuff, like, oh, this is where I fit in. This is my job. I know how to do this, so I'm going to do that. If that makes sense.
It does.
Thank you. Even if it doesn't, thank you for saying it, Jazz.
No, I like that you brought up the point about, you know, you don't build rock walls, you don't hula. This other thing is what you do.
Yeah.
Because I fit in the same basket. It's like, I don't speak Olelo, Hawaii.
It's okay. We got a firework.
More fireworks.
You're okay.
So I don't speak Olelo, Hawaii. I don't practice a lot of the cultural stuff, but this is what I do.
Word.
And trying to continue on, you know, the Native Hawaiian stories and helping out the Native Hawaiian, I guess the culture in this technological age, you know, this is what I do. Why? Because nobody else is doing it, or not a lot of people are doing it. So
no, totally. And that's the thing too, of recognizing that you're a part of a continuum, right? It's like, this is not even a me. I am not even a me. I am my ancestors. You know, I am just this iteration in a line of a ton of people before and after. So even in terms of Hawaiian cultural practice, existing is the Hawaiian cultural practice, you know, and tapping into that and engaging with other Hawaiians and talking story, and, you know, even the way that you approach this podcast or any vocational stuff, there are elements of your ancestors that influence that. Puerto Rican side, Hawaiian side, whatever, those things come through whether you like it or not, you know. Muscle memory spans time and space. Like, it's about, I think, not limiting our own like silly human brains to try to categorize like, oh, well, I'm not dancing hula, so I'm not. It's like, no, I'm doing it. Like, this is my iteration of that.
Right. I love that. Nicole, it's been so great having you on the show.
Yes.
We've gone on so many tangents. I don't even remember. I have to re-edit and go back and look. It's like, what do we actually talk about? Rage Against the Machine? Stardust?
Right. I was so sorry. Yeah, no, I know.
Chinatown? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love it, though. That's real. That's the real you.
It is. It's a mess. I'm sorry. Have fun editing. You wanted Roby. It's going to be a little late with the dog and all over the place.
That's what I love about Hawaii Real.
I love it. Thank you for having me. This was cool. Yeah, awesome. This was cool. Thank you.
Okay. And as always, stay happy, Hawaii. You got 3 seconds.
Oh. Lady, you have to shaka. You have to shaka for Uncle Sure. What is the tag? Stay happy, Hawaii.
Stay happy, Hawaii.
Stay happy, Hawaii.
Oh, that's the dog shaka. The pause. Very important. Well, don't blow it off. Like, the money pushes everything, so that's important. That is super. I mean, the guy that does a clap is important too, but
Phil, with making a film, you're only as good as your least talented person. I mean, literally, you can have a shitty craft services person, and you're fucked. Like, you might as well stop and start again. Like, if everybody there is, their food didn't come out good, or like they're going to get
everybody's having a bad day.
Yeah, and it's totally, like all of it. It's one of those art forms that it's like absolutely every single person. Now, yeah, everything. It's a snowball,
One person.
Totally can completely.
At the very bottom. I mean, yeah, you're building the foundation of everything.
No, totally. Even a parking attendant. The person that, the PA, that it's their entire job to stand in front of a door and make sure that the public doesn't walk through.
Yeah.
If that
I can
kid,
imagine that too.
and he has one task, and literally it might only happen twice that he has to quietly go, I'm no sorry, we're filming right now. You can't go through this door. In the event that he does a good job every single time, and the one time that he doesn't, the actor, the lighting, all of that stuff doesn't matter if it was a good take if somebody walks through, because that one PA did like film's insane.
And there's some movies where you see like someone in the background.
No, totally.
Was it one of the Star Wars or the Mandalorian? There's like a guy in the background. Like, dude, there's a guy. Oh yeah, no, there's a ton of continuity because it's so expensive. It's like, what are we gonna do? Reset this entire shot? The Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones. Oh god, that was awesome. That entire last season was such a betrayal. Right? I could have an entire episode just on 8th season. Man, I was so upset. I felt personally insulted and betrayed. I did too. I was totally betrayed. I was like, I could have done a better job than this. No, totally. Yeah. Every episode should have been it could have been a whole other season. I was like, what is happening? I deserve better than this. Yeah, it was like watching something in VHS where everything was just fast forwarded. 1,000%. That's sucks. No, actually, totally. No, not VHS, Betamax. Word of just kind of like this, like, oh, okay. It was like listening to somebody read off bullet points. Yes. It was like, this is not a journey I want to be on. Like, you're just like presenting. Yeah, no. Ugh. Ready to start? Yeah, sorry. Okay. That's so funny. Yeah, we're both tangenty. This is what I do. Like, I just go off on tangents. I love it.